And look at the matchup we get. Anglais versus Francais. And it's going to be Chrysor playing as the French. The reason this is pretty cool is it means that he can be the tempo aggressor if he plays this right. And I think actually this is the way I prefer to see people play against Beastie, is in a position where they have the ability to be aggressive. I think actually where Beastie thrives is on opportunities for the game to just cruise by into that later timing 20, 25 minutes in. It's really when the game starts to unlock his style, right? When you get to the stage where resources really begin to matter and just taking more away from the map and delaying the game benefits you. In the first 20 minutes, you can actually build up enough of a lead that your opponent doesn't necessarily have the ability to dictate resource terms like that. So that's what I'm going to be looking for out of Chrysor playing as the French here. But opening up, Beastie, of course, is going to not just set up farm straight away. Interesting. It looks like we might be getting a quicker feudal timing, which makes a lot of sense, actually. For those wondering why BC would choose to not set up farms first. For a start, I think some people have noticed that there's some alternative builds where you maybe want to go into Deer if that's an option, but that's not the reason here. The reason why he needs to go onto the gold straight away and get the tech up as quickly as possible is when you play the English, you don't get access to Spearmen at all until Feudal Age. Why is this important? You're up against the French. They have heavy cavalry. So if you don't rush into Feudal, you won't have the counter. And it means that you're going to get breached and shut down. You'll go full idle eco. So you can't risk it. You can't be greedy. You have to go for the feudal as quickly as possible. It's something quite frustrating to me at the moment. I've mentioned this a few times. I think it's quite the heavy nerf right now for the English, especially since they heavily cut the costs of upgrading from Dark to Feudal Age units compared to previous patch. But I think the balance point that's given, would probably be given rather by the developers, is that, well, you are getting men-at-arms straight away. That's why you don't get spears. And that's a reasonable argument in most matchups, but definitely not this one. In this one, you do not want heavily armored boys with plastic swords over spearmen that can actually screw over heavily armored cavalry. Spear the man with the access to heavily armored cavalry. It looks like he has gathered the resources. Interesting here by Chrysor. Isn't even opting into the stables. It seems like he understands the importance in this matchup we just highlighted as well. It's a matter of getting feudal as quickly as possible to be able to pressure. And it means that he isn't going to necessarily get the big value because BC is going to tech up, but he is going to get his first knights out in the field as quickly as possible. At the sacrifice of some eco benefits, because I actually think it's been proven that getting wheelbarrow on the way to Feudal Age, when you're about halfway complete with the School of Cavalry, doesn't set you back. And in fact, it looks like Chrysor might actually hit a really good timing. I like this. A lot of people just set the mill up ahead of time so they don't have to idle afterwards, but it's irrelevant. It doesn't change doing it now or doing it earlier. But the timing's going to be really good. So he'll begin wheelbarrow research about halfway through. By the time he completes the tech up, he'll have enough gold for his first knight. In the meantime, something did glaze over upon in BC's base. No council coming out. It's going to be the Abbey of Kings. A logical choice when you think about it. You're up against the French. You don't want to bog yourself down with Lombos, which you just don't want. Instead, by having Abbey of Kings, it's going to allow you to turtle more effectively. It's also going to allow you to cycle villages that get close to being killed by a knight and just heal them up by gathering on farms nearby or gathering on sheep. And then something else that it does open up for BC is the possibility to go for a horseman build with the English. Someone that we haven't seen in quite a long time. In the meantime, Chrysor has begun the wheelbarrow. And you can see by the timing of this, it's going to complete after the tech up. Preferably, you want to start wheelbarrow halfway through your tech up so it completes just at the end. This situation, he's getting a little bit suboptimal, but it will give him an extra 5-10 seconds in terms of a quicker timing on his first knight, which is quite important in this matchup. Tech up complete. This is where I'm expecting BC to just insta-drop the racks in prep for what's coming. He could even think about setting up some small walls to protect his wood line. I'd love to see just a quick palisade here, quick palisade here. You've got a lot of frontal assault points, but you could at least get rid of some of the flank attacks. And that means it'd be a lot harder for Chrysor to reach your wood line, which I think for Beastie is going to be the most important resource in the next 4 minutes. He needs it for the wood palisades to protect. He needs it for the infrastructure to get units out, like Rax units. Those Rax units, Spearmen specifically, will cost wood. On top of that, you do need your farms, right? So all of the things you want to do right now as the English are dictated by wood access. It's like first knight's on the way. Beastie will instantly just lock onto that and chase alongside him to make sure he doesn't lose sight of it. Rax is going to now come out. A reactionary Rax, though. He was a little bit slow on this because BC wanted to be greedy. Look what he done. He actually went onto the stone outcropping. Hasn't gathered at all. And Chrysal's a smart cookie. Don't undersell this guy. He's definitely going to look and see that there's been no mining activity. Or has there? Oh. BC did get enough. I wasn't paying attention. He's up to 344. I thought I misread that as 244. So problematic now for Chrysal. He knows there's a secondary TC coming up on a map layout that's very defendable, and we're seeing those defenses now go up. BC isn't being overly greedy. He decides to wall next to the TC instead of next to the tree line. The importance of this is he now kind of funnels towards this small choke point where he can guard with 2 spearmen, and then he just has to worry about the northern flank instead. It's a pretty smart little maneuver there. A lot of players would have tried for the wall across and then maybe another one towards the Abbey of Kings. It's just double the amount of walling time, which means double the opportunities for Chrysal to sneak in while you're doing it. For now, looks like Beastie actually did spend some of that stone as I was thinking. Yeah. So he went for the arrow slits, and now he does have the wood required coming in. So it will be a drop of a TC on the north side here. Pretty good placement. Secures the berry, secures gold, secures a small wood line. Yeah, I know I said secures berries in the English, but right now, like, Beastie is a bit budgeted, right? He just spent this wood on the Palisades, he spent it on the TC, he's spending it on Rax as well as Spearman. So he needs to maybe rely on these static resources a bit longer before going into the farms. And Chrysal, as a reaction to the TC build he just saw, will now go for his own. Good choice here. Something that the French can actually do pretty freely, considering in a lot of matchups they're the tempo aggressor, so going back for this other TC, it just allows them to inflate their eco even further if they can still find chip damage. And I like the Chrysal's not being overly reliant on just the Knights alone, simply because you're up against the English. They already have hardened Spearmen. They've got Abbey of Kings, so you can't slowly trade out those spears either. It's better to just pull a few Knights. Don't look for a brute force attack. Instead, look for elegant ways of taking eco away from Beastie. Chrysal definitely getting good value here with the back spawn deer, which is where he's going to set up that TC. We're yet to see farms being built by Beastie. The sheep are not going to last much longer, and that's why he's finally going to drop the mill. Keep in mind, by the way, he hasn't had wheelbarrow because of this whole time. So any move out for this TC, any move between these different eco points has been inefficient for him. He's been missing out on eco gains. I'm worried that Chrysal isn't really doing anything these nights so far, though. It's a bit tough, right? You've got double TC to worry about. The English town centers fire double the arrows as well, so you have to show due respect. At the same time, you need to be probing. You need to be trying to shut down eco, because although you're going to be able to inflate your villager count quicker because you're the French, at the end of the day, you don't really want to let the English pass through this uncomfortable phase in the game unbruised. Because this is your strong point, right? Like, when you're playing the French, this is when you should be able to be very potent, very scary. Castle Age arrives, all of a sudden Beastie can get his own Knights with attack speed buffers, which kind of offset the big clear advantage the Royal Knights get. They can go into the crossbows, they can build into small, slow, crawling siege composition. The options really are on the table at that point for the English. An interesting move from Chrysal, because he seems to be looking towards those options too. Not something we see often out of the French, the idea of rushing Castle Age. In fact, I've been stuck on record saying I think that they are probably the weakest Civ at utilizing a Castle Age rush. I can't think of any Civ that is more wasted on a Castle Age rush, right? Like, you could talk about maybe the Abbasids. Oh, how would that look? Well, they still have access to siege in the field, right? With cheap phalanx spearmen. The Knights are, like, that's just all the French want, right? Like, you can talk about Arbre de Tries, but Arbre de Tries is more reactionary phase where you have a reason to do it. So far, he hasn't been given a reason, though. But anyway, looks like he's going to draw attention while Chrysal continues to gather up the resources. Almost has the gold required. Isn't paying attention, though. Actually like that choice by Beastie. And, oh, he pinches the Knight as well. Dude. 4 spearmen. And they truly just pay for themselves there. That was a beauty right there out of Beastie. Chrysal gets handled for not looking. And right now, Beastie has to be wondering, well, why is he not looking? What's he looking at? What's more important than this? He has to know. He has to suspect it. Now that he hasn't seen more Knights outside of his base, it should be somewhat suspicious, maybe even almost obvious that Chrysal's going for a castle up. And look at the reason why he does it. So this is the reasoning behind Chrysal's tech up rush. He wants to go into mana arms. So he's trying to bootleg his way on the cavalry side of things, right? Knights are too expensive. Spears are already countering. I'll go mana arms. Problem is, by the time you tech up, Beastie's going to match that tech up timing. By the time you arrive at his base, Beastie's going to have mana arms out as well. I don't like this choice by Chrysor. And I think BC knows that he can get away with the tech up now that he's killed killed a knight off, pushed another one away, and seen no others. It's as free as it can get. And with that freedom, he's going to try to create a free marker of peasant trees up for sale as he goes in for the third TC with the King's Palace. Now Chrysor's on the clock. Chrysor's on the clock, and it's feeling a bit wonky. Like, the tech up's going to complete. The man-at-arms then going to take 22 seconds, and then they're going to take time to cross the map. Why is this all a big deal? Well, for a start, men-at-arms are slow. You're having an assault, so you have to do this. You have to go from this side of the map all the way across. Another key detail to remember is you're now up against the English that can also build men-at-arms. But guess what, folks? Their men-at-arms get produced every 15 seconds. So they can escalate quicker. And as long as BC gets info on this or suspects it, which he's about to get info spotting out the racks, he can just prep the counter. He can go multi-racks, set up the men-at-arms, and then clash with you and win. Because not only does he have the ability to peel off injured units and heal them with Abbey of Kings, he also has Armorclad to look forward to with his man-at-arms. Yeah, I'm surprised by Chrysor's approach to this game. I think Chrysor got way too worried about potentially throwing the game through suboptimal knight usage that he threw the game through suboptimal knight usage. He got caught trying to burn a palisade down, lost a knight, lost a scout. And then at that point, like, BC really, that's where he becomes aware there's no more troops. Like, there's no more being produced. There is a castle up. And that's why BC didn't double down. He didn't invest in more troopers. He just went for 1 or 2, and that was good enough. Was it 4 spearmen, 6 spearmen max? Good enough. Ooh, nice little wiggle in. Looks like one knight did make his way in, however. He can't hang around to clash long under the villagers. So one knight makes his way in, but the man-at-arms has been delayed. And with that delay, you can already see the count is increasing for Beastie. Does need to get the upgrade out into normie man-at-arms, which is now coming. But see what I was talking about. The fact that he's already got 3 man-at-arms out in the defensive when Chrysor has 3 on the offensive. This is the problem with Chrysor's strategy. It's a good idea if the racks get built near the ball. In fact, I would have absolutely adored him if he'd gone for proxy base on the ball, just built up the racks there, and been gathering ball for the extra food needed. But right now, like, he doesn't have good enough food income for the strain of more than 4 racks max. And even then, that is not going to produce at all times. Whereas on the ball, he would have. And he would have also had a shorter path of approach. Missed opportunity here. Now, as a result, Beastie, what does he do? He goes mass stables. Wow. Okay, so he's like, got it. You must be playing like proxy resources right now because there's no way you're doing a full farm transition with this many man-at-arms pushing. But at the same time, because you're pushing this many men-at-arms, you're going to need to get that much food online. So what BC's trying to do is capitalize on that timing in 2 minutes when Chrysor drains out the initial resources and either has to play onto pocket ecos where it's risky or has to set up farmlands at home. And if he hasn't set up the walls to protect those farms, or he has to go into the pocket ecos anyway, these knights are going to get maximum value for Beastie. Men-at-arms, man, they're just not getting through. You see Beastie's being a pain in the ass. Needs to be careful not to throw away these first knights coming out. Needs to build up enough of them to justify it. And that peel-off, oh, that's a beautiful peel-off right there. Chrysor knows he made a mistake. That little detail, that was cheeky. He pulled away about 5 men-at-arms and allowed the second wave to come in. Now clash in the midfield. Numbers looking a little bit dicey for Chrysor. Remember, Beastie, he's got a few spearmen to tank in here. Men-at-arms that he's optimizing to pull away for the heal. I love this detail. And it means although Chrysor is still going to have a count at the end of this, the next fight is going to be very one-sided. Unless he can clean up the injured troops, which he just can't do. Beastie is so on point with this. And he even routs the forces in the end. Chrysor has to walk away. Abbey of Kings now to rejuvenate his hard-hit warriors. And when he comes out, it's going to be a double situation. Continues to chase through. I mean, these man-at-arms are donezo. Chrysor needs a transition. In fact, Chrysor, he's going back for knights, but he needs archery ranges. He needs arbalètrier. I think he's gone for the wrong comp. Wrong comp against this opponent for sure. And all these knights just go wheel back. And guess what, folks? Those walls are up. So, middle finger. Villager's a little bit ambitious. BC forgot himself. He's trying to get the outpost up so he had the attack speed aura. Like, this is already a one-sided fight. If he gets the outpost attack speed over there, Cryzor is in a GG state in these fights. And here we go. Dude, I love this from Beastie. He's forcing a fight close enough to the Abbey of Kings that he'll get some sort of proxy heal. He's trying to bait his opponent in. However, Beastie, you do have to be paying attention for that to be optimal. Which he clearly was not. Chase given, though, 10 knights now. There's no way Cryzor can hang around. Beastie this time will be able to get out and get his outpost up. And he can afford to do so. Like, he's already almost, what, 8 villages ahead of Cryzor. So you can afford to sacrifice a few building in the midfield. Cryzor is not building these military numbers quick enough. Beastie, by the way, has been taking these fights without Armorclad. Now that he's moving away from home, it's time to go for that. Ay. The Knight's just going to turn around and clean up these few MAA left. In fact, he realizes he doesn't even have to. He's got enough to win that fight, so instead he's going to go deeper. He'll see the keep now, so Beastie will have to pivot around that. But there's so much access to the base right now, with the wood line quickly thinning up as well. And, oh, the relics. No relic for Cryzor. I think that was his first one he was gathering for as well, yeah. So Beastie probably going to go for his monastery himself now. Sees an opportunity in this, right? Like, his opponent has opened the door, so he might as well step through it. For the time being, he's going to continue the assault on the front side. Outpost is going up. Cryzor. I am worried now. I mean, he's gone into the spears. And these spears, like, you're already facing off against Man-at-Arms. Like, the spearman choice isn't bad from Cryzor if he wiped out Beastie's Man-at-Arms. But remember that Beastie kept healing them. And now, Cryzor wishes he could heal because his villagers are in trouble. The Knights found their way in. We warned about the wood line. He thought he had it. So many players fall victim to this where it looks like you haven't chopped through it, but there is a gap. And now he's in through that gap. So many villagers going to be idling, so many going AFK, and so many to die because the gold line. Beastie, he came here just to pull the army back. But not only that, as a result of where Cryzor's located with his economy, everything has to idle back here. And while you're idling, this is the classic Beastie maneuver. Gets you to the back corner on Dry Arabia, second wave already coming in. And with it, a siege workshop dropped, a way of deleting all of the forward infrastructure. Cryzor, you can't help but feel that this game is starting to slip away from him. Needs a reaction and a good one fast. Keep now going up. Clash on the northern front. Beastie sees an opportunity, a good opportunity. Mistakes made there. Cryzor, nice maneuver. Beastie noticed that Cryzor didn't get a charge off, so he engaged. So he had the number advantage, and there was no buff damage for the French Knights. Just a one-sided affair there. It's getting more and more one-sided. Even more so when Beastie, the other thing you have to remember, by going to this back corner, what did he get? He got a lot of info. He didn't just find out where all your gold is, which he's going back for again. He found out about the guild hall. So Beastie now knows that he can double down on Knights, and there's no threat of him just losing because of Royal Bloodlines and Canted Saddles. That's never coming. Instead, Beastie's just going to be coming for you with mass cavalry time and time again. And those mass cavalry units are already on the villages pushing them back. A lot of idle time could be forced out here. In fact, Beastie, I wonder if he identified where the villagers are coming from south side. If he just wraps around, there's no garrison point down here. And he's killing so many villages. I mean, this is just bad for Cryzor. Even if he cleans up the Knights right now and they didn't kill any more villagers, which they will, it's still a good trade for Beastie. Behind that trade, like, look what's his building. I mean, Cryzor, is it me or is his military count not moved in the last minute? Every time I look at it, it's around 11 or 12 max. This build-up is too slow. And it shouldn't be this slow, right? Because if anything, you should be at an edge with the Knight production because of your production times for the School of Cavalry. You do it 20% faster. But it doesn't seem to matter. You just can't get the count. And now, a fight that should be good, remember you're going to be taking it next to the network of castles, which means that juiced up attack speed can even up against your charge bonus. So instead, you'll have to back away. But by backing away, it does mean the trebuchets will slowly get through the infrastructure, and Cryzor is becoming a one-trick pony, literally. Canted Saddles is being prepped. Full price is being paid, though. And also, let's keep in mind that you've revealed your only Knights now. So Beastie likely to just double down on spears. He's already got a decent amount in here. 12 spears, 12 man-at-arms. Very difficult now for Cryzor to breach. In fact, Cryzor, his best option is to try and flank around with a few Knights and chip eco. The problem he has is if he doesn't diversify and build something other than Knights, he doesn't have enough troops to defend with to even do that flanking attack. Yeah, I think the issue now is Chrysal's not, like, it's completely reactionary, right? It's not even reactionary. He's not actually doing anything. So my problem with this is that you aren't dictating pace and you're behind. Beastie is getting to do whatever he wants, and we know what that means for Beastie in this situation. He's going to force enough pressure to make you double down. He's going to engage with that and then make sure you can't use it. For example, he'll just peel knights and run to the back of your base. And while that's happening, there's going to be another big one-up. Or double up in this situation. He's not only just getting the mid-map resources, which we're now seeing him move towards on the northern and south flank, he's also teching up now into Imperial Age, which is going to make his economy unassailable unless you assail it directly. You can't match the economy of the English anymore. In fact, it's gluttonous and crazy to me that Chrysaor even thinks he can. And before anyone says, but he's massing troops, he doesn't think he can, KP. They're standing here in the main fight. He clearly thinks he can. There is no reason you keep all your troops at home like this unless you thought you had an upside down the line. Some better eco boost, some better military unit. There is no way you're ever beating the English to a tech up in this situation, though. And we can see the impact coming. Beastie building up fast. 27 villages rushing up now. Troops rushing in. That peel back, beautifully done there. The horsemen tank the shots. We'll keep pursuing. And now he has to defend the trebuchet, but the spearmen are in. Attack speed buffer is still impacting them. They need to pull out of range. You can see this perfect little dance, this delicate dance back and forth. The keep on one side, threatening Beastie, and the aura on the other, threatening against Chrysaor. Chrysaor giving chase. He's going to get pinched though, mistakes made. Spearman brace, spread out comes out. Knights are in trouble. Heavy damage being done. All three sacred sites controlled. The Berkshire Palace up in the center. Beastie now with a keep on each sacred site. And the knight count has been cut in half instantly. Oh my, oh my. Chrysaor, what is your backup plan now? Was there even a backup plan? Beastie, I love this plan to the Berkshire. Instead of going for the Wingguard, he has a win condition in mind, and it's around these sacred sites. We talked about the fact he loves playing mid-map to get his hands on these resources, but when they're given to him so freely, he's quick to identify the double down. Not just the resource banks, but the sacred sites, which actually, for Beastie, function as a resource bank as well as a pressure point to force Chrysaor out. Chrysaor. It's going to need to be like a Chrysalis here. It's going to need to find a way of evolving into the counter to this. I just don't see this evolution yet. For me, Chrysaor, it's finally coming. Something else. Arbaletier. But these Arbaletier are so delayed, I am hesitant to say they're the winning comp anymore. The upgrades coming out with the siege workshops in the front line, the possibility of Mangonels. The fact that all these keeps can also produce siege, whether it's Mangonels or Sprions to counter any Sprions you go for, like this is the issue I now see. Your Knights still have to be the MVP, and they have looked very underwhelming so far. Like, what would MVP stand for in that situation? Most vulgar positioning? Because he more or less just ran into spears and died? I think that fits. And that spearman count is getting bigger. It's scarier. 34 now. No need for man-at-arms, he says. No need for many knights. Just enough to peel off and go back into the eco line. Hello! And that's annoying. Chrysaor, he'll just pull off 4 knights to chase after this. However, the 3 English knights are going to do a lot of damage in the meantime. Textiles is there for Chrysaor, but these knights hit so hard. The attack speed buffer is even there from the outposts. And that's why Beastie knew exactly where to strike. He's been sharing this wood line for a while now. Meanwhile, in the center, Clash comes out. Looks like a good fight, though. Beastie gets ambitious. Mangonels pummel him in, and it looks like the spearmen are all dead. So Chrysaor quickly recovers while we're not looking. Could clean up the first wave, but second wave might be quick behind it. Beastie is now amassing knights. So many are being pushed. He sees what's coming from Chrysaor, and his plan is just to overwhelm. And it's a good plan right now, because remember, Chrysaor, although he is the French, with veteran royal knights, it's still a Guildhall play. So no royal bloodlines, and Chrysaor with still no ability of teching up. And still, with these strong point defense to get through, Trebs do at least make their way through one of the keeps. Second wave coming in. The Spearman now elited up. Looking to yeet the Knights out. Beastie is going to buy a little bit of time with his maneuvers just to get the next wave out. Knights in full force soon. Chrysor, problematic because I think your Knight count is about to be heavily discounted. Especially the amount of production coming. Especially Military Academy now being prepped 50 seconds away. That's the scary detail I've been looking for. Once that comes out, Chrysor has to trade ahead, right? And that he has to have the right counter every time because he won't be able to reproduce quick enough. Sure, it'll be cheaper, but price isn't an issue for Beastie, not with the late game English economy. And I do love that he's getting the Gambesons. The extra melee armor is going to be important here. I think he realizes that he doesn't have anything to stop a flank attack, so these bad boys are going to be a frontline unit very quickly. Bet he wishes he could have the stirrups right now. However, to get to that, you're going to need to tech up first, and Chrysor looks like he's there. However, this is a dangerous tech up. I do not like this tech up at all. He's not pop capped yet, and he's going for the rush up here. And he's going for the College of Artillery. Maybe if it was the Red Palace to defend, it would make a bit more sense, but I'm now worried that this tech up choice is going to offer up the momentum to Beastie. Once he sees that tech up complete, he can surge in with his army. Now, the only weakness at the moment for Beastie has been a lack of forward infrastructure to push new troops, but we now see that that is changing. Siege Workshops, racks in the center. Berkshire Pass will go down. Marching from the Spearmen and Knights, trying to wrap around. The engagement will begin. Chrysor quick to peel back, needs to retreat, covers the trebuchets as he leaves. But now Beastie in a throwaway state. Remember that his income is superior in every single category right now. He can afford to just throw away more troops pointlessly at this, if need be. But it's not looking pointless. The Arbalètriers, mistakes made. He's got the Gambesons, so he's trying to confidently use them as a front line, but so many Spearmen here, so many cavalry going down, and Arbalètrier. The second wave will quickly be coming behind this. You can already see it now amassing with the tech up coming out. That's the moment to go. BC now adding in the Man-at-Arms. Men-at-Arms that you think would be answered by the Arbalètrier, but I'm starting to doubt their impact. Especially the Knights begin to wrap around, especially with enough Spearmen in there to draw attention. And sure, like I said, Chrysor, we need the right counter, and he has got the right counter. I want to give him credit for that. But my issue is you're just out-ecoed. We know what late game AoE turns into, right? It's less about your micro skill. That's not to say you can't out-micro it, by the way. I just want to highlight that. But more important is your macro. If you have enough resource bank to keep push, keep 200 pop cap, 200 pop cap, 200 pop cap, you'll come out ahead. And in that macro play, the transitions can become more important than the micro. Like, a good macro player can outdo a good micro simply with the attack click and the ability to get the right units out ahead of time. And Beastie seems to have done that. These Man-at-Arms are so chunky at this stage. 9 ranged armor. He realizes it's over. No Knight push ahead of him. Arbalètrier is soon to be cleaned up. Chrysor, despite his best efforts, he can't win with a 1-up on transitions. He's just going to be beaten out by the superior economy of the English.